This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, October the 6th, is a British former boxer who was a pretty good 15-year career and held multiple world championships in the light welterweight and the welterweight divisions and all that. He was named the Rings Fighter of the Year in 2005. He won some great fights and lost some great fights, but he's known as the Hitman and the Manchester Mexican, as they call him. He is Ricky Hatton, who's now 46 years old. He was born October 6, 1978, and grew up in Greater Manchester. And at age 12, he found a local boxing club to train at and all that. His entrance music is actually the Man City Club song Blue Moon and all of that. So anyway, in his short amateur career, he won a lot of British titles and represented his country at the 96 Youth World Boxing Championships. Anyway, his elimination in the semis caused controversy. 4 of the 5 judges gave Hatton the contest, but Hatton was defeated as the 5th judge gave the match to Hatton's opponent by 16 points. The judge was later found to have accepted a bribe, so Hatton decided to turn professional. He made his debut September 11, 1997 against Colin Macaulay and TK Linham. He actually, in a second bout, would fight on the undercard of Messi Hamed versus Kevin Kelly, so he would be on the undercards and all that. He was fighting on the undercard of contests involving British boxers. He was on the undercard of Carl Thompson's 2 match with Chris Eubank. He beat Dylan Carew for the WBO Intercontinental Light Welterweight title and gained the WBA one over Giuseppe Lori and all that. Anyway, he would have a decent career, and then in 2005 he would fight the fighting Australian Cutastrophe, TSZYU, and he was the IBF champion, one of the best pound-for-pound boxers in the world. He TKO'd the Australian in the 12th round. He was a heavy underdog, well, for obvious reasons. So it was, and people said this was one of the best victories by an English boxer in the past 20 years. I mean, come on, Lennox Lewis was world heavyweight champ. Well, he represented England. He didn't represent Canada. Anyway, he won the WBA light welterweight title, beating Carlos Musa, and was named Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year in 2005. Hatton would relinquish his IBF title by refusing to fulfill a defense against the number 1 contender, Ben Rabah, because he wanted to go to the welterweight. So he hadn't signed a 3-year fight contract of a fighting academy. He split from Frank Warren, longtime promoter. So he went up to welterweight to face Luis Collazo for the WBA welterweight title. He managed to win somehow. And then he went back to light welterweight to take on the IBF light welterweight champion Juan Urango for the IBF and IBO title. Anyway, Hatton won a unanimous decision and would face Jose Luis Castillo. A key matchup. Hatton was forced to relinquish the IBF title again to fight Castillo because he needed to go up. Hatton put a perfect left hook to the liver, which put Castillo to the canvas, and said that Castillo's ribs were broken with that one punch. So Castillo was counted out, obviously. So Hatton would take on Floyd Mayweather in a key fight, which would have been in December 2007. It was considered to be the biggest welterweight title fight since the '99 clash between Oscar de la Hoya and Tito Trinidad. So Las Vegas would host it at the MGM Grand Arena and all that. Mayweather said after beating De La Hoya he meant to retire, but then he decided to face Hatton and all that. So, anyway. Unfortunately, though, Hatton lost his calm after a controversial point taken away from him in round 6. He held his own, and Mayweather knocked Hatton to the mat in round 10. Hatton's corner threw in the towel, and basically Mayweather had the fight won anyhow. But he went back to light welterweight health and did to face Juan Lozano in front of 55,000 at City of Manchester Stadium, home to Man City, to retain his ring and IBO light welterweight belts and all that. So he did well. So after a few fights, he would face Manny Pacquiao May 2009 at the MGM Grand Arena at light welterweight. This would be Pacquiao's 6th weight category he would fight at, and Hatton was undefeated in this. Unfortunately, though, Hatton would be KO'd early in the 2nd round. Hatton actually put his career on hiatus, and practically he was upset by how he did against Pacquiao. And a lot of people said that Pacquiao was using PEDs. And Hatton said he should have made the same blood testing demand as Mayweather Jr. did against Pacquiao in 2010. However, there was a medical analysis that supported Pacquiao's decision to abstain from blood testing, saying that drawing blood close to a fight may cause infections or other injuries. Regardless of that, Hatton decided to go back to pro boxing and would face Vladislav Savchenko. And the tickets were actually sold out in 2 days, despite the fact that the opponent and undercard were not announced. So anyway, he reached a maximum height of a weight of 95 kilograms. But anyway, he thought he could do well, but unfortunately, in the 9th round, a left hook to the body sent Hatton to the floor. Hatton was counted out, and he went to 45 wins and 3 losses. He finally decided to retire, saying he had no more to prove. All that. So anyway, the problem with Hatton was that he was known to balloon up and all that, and put on weight between fights, because I have a lot on my plate and then he would lose a lot of weight before his bouts and all that. So anyway, he did all that too. Ricky Hatton actually was part of Raw in 2009 at the Sheffield Arena and actually faced Chavo Guerrero in a match and beat him. Hatton actually was admitted to rehab in September 2010 for substance abuse to tackle a drink and depression problem, because he was caught on camera snorting lines of cocaine in a Manchester hotel room. The doctor said they were worried about his depression and alcohol abuse more so than his drug use. And Hatton actually sought medical help. So he did all of that though too. Ricky's mother Carol still works on the carpet stall at the Peak District. And all that. So anyway, Hatton actually has a son conceived after a short reconciliation with ex-girlfriend Claire, and set up a trust fund so that his son was provided for. Campbell is actually a pro boxer too, and is being trained by Ricky's brother Matthew. So anyway, there were a lot of things and all that. Ricky Hatton was a pretty good fighter. He was 45-3. Well, at one time he was 43-0 in his matches and did quite well. So as I said, he was a light welterweight multiple world champion. Once he got to welterweight, he got that thing, won a lot of IBF fights, and he looked pretty good. And he was actually inducted to the International Boxing Hall of Fame this year in 2024. So great on him. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.